back to that. Instead, we'll move first to the BZA report out from Commissioners Orndorff and Nelson. And this is the process that will precede us moving into commission business and taking a vote on the matter. So this will allow the opportunity for the commissioners to share out, and if there's anything additional that community members might have, they can add to that as well. Yep. All right, Commissioner Orndorff, can you give a report out on the matter for the record?
We had a combined special call meeting with the developers and the constituents on, not a special call, it was a special call, joint call. Joint call.
Joint SMD meeting.
Joint SMD.
Yes.
Considered a special call for the
Can't be a special call meeting because you can't conduct any business. So it's a joint SMD meeting.
joint SMD.
Yep.
Call with the developers and the constituents that were concerned in reference to anything that was going on with the project. We were able to gather a lot of great concerns from the residents, concerns that I didn't hear before until we had this meeting. So with this, these concerns brought my concerns back to what we need to do for the constituents to help them out with this development and what they're trying to do with assisted living, because we all want people to have a place to live, but we want the residents to be at peace also. So with that being said, we asked the developers to come with a more prepared presentation that everybody could hear for tonight. Because of our last meeting, we couldn't hear cohesively some of the developers' presentation. So we asked them to come back for tonight because their zoning is tomorrow. The zoning tomorrow will require, if you are in protest, if you want to speak up, you will want to be on the zoning just to have your piece said. Because again, it's quiet up there when I come up there, but I want it to be quiet when this starts up for you guys. And again, some of the stuff that we agree with remember faces, that something that the developers can come into the community that can work out with the constituents that are already there. And Ms. Nelson can follow up on some more details.
All right, so tomorrow the zoning meeting is for the Clay Street address. So they'll be focusing specifically on the Clay Street address. I know that we had a meeting for Eads as well. And so we did ask, just to make a record of this, when we had our joint SMD meeting on April 15th, we asked the applicants to come in person tonight, and it looks like they decided to go ahead and still attend virtually. So I do want to make note that they are in the virtual format of this meeting, but they did not come in person tonight, which is unfortunate. And so I think we'll go ahead and give them the floor to respond to some of the community concerns that were brought up on April 15th. And then we'll open the floor back up again to allow community members who have come and taken the time to actually come in person to comment as well.
All right, so with that, we will yield the floor to the developer team. T. Bello, Aaron, or Sinai, I'm not sure if either of the three of you would like to start first.
Well, good evening, commissioners. My name is Toya Bello, and I'm representing the applicant in this case. I think we had shared a PowerPoint presentation, which, if that can be pulled up, I think will make our presentation a little bit more efficient for the participants to follow.
You have the ability to share screen.
Okay, can everybody see the document? No.
Yeah. We can't see the PowerPoint, but we see your screen going through documents.
1 second. Uh,
Do you have the PowerPoint up?
I believe I do.
Okay, so what you'll need to do is unshare and share again the PowerPoint because you might have specifically only shared that window.
Okay. So let's do this. Okay, can we say it now?
Yes, and please note for the record that you only have 7 minutes to present whatever it is that you have to present.
Okay, so this application is for a clay street. As everybody is aware, the applicant proposes to establish a healthcare facility, which is assisted living for 16 people at this premises. This premises is already licensed and has a certificate of occupancy for 8 residents. So this is a request to increase the number of residents from 8 to 16. So in terms of community agency support, the Office of Planning recommends approval of this application. The Department of Transportation has no objection to the application. And there are 2 letters of support surrounding neighbors, including the adjacent neighbor at the rear. So this facility is proposed to be a licensed as an assisted living facility with no age limits. The facility is designed to provide treatment and care to individuals requiring assistance, medical supervision, and other supportive services. The residential component ensures that patients referred to as guests or residents have access to on-site care, meals, daily activities, and medical oversight tailored to their needs. These are basically just reflecting what exists on the site, the interior of the building. So I'll skip that. So this page goes to operational matters of this property. So there'll be an administrative supervisor on site daily, 2 caregivers on site daily, and a nurse on site every 3 weeks. Medical provider would be on call. As far as the services to this premises are concerned, food delivery service will be 1 daily between 7 and 7:30 a.m. Housekeeping and waste management, daily cleaning services arriving between 8 and 9 a.m. and waste disposals are in place. Urgent medical care as provided in more detail in the assisted living sample manual, which is regulated by the Department of Health. The facility would have on-call protocols beyond a retained provider to handle urgent medical situations. Visitor coordination. Visitors are permitted during meal times and activities. Activities depending upon the resident's health assessment, our facility will offer customized care plans, and flexible schedules for residents. Outdoor use and visitor policies and quiet hours. Designated outdoor courtyard for guest recreation and relaxation. Quiet hours between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. to minimize noise from residents, staff, and visitors. Signs will be posted regarding noise. Visitors permitted during meal times and activities. Facility will assist in scheduling visits. If there's a large group planning to come, the large group will be defined as 4 or more people at one time. Fencing and screening are in place. Parking and transportation, the facility has 4 designated parking spaces located at the rear of the building used for staff and visitors. Spaces are screened with fencing and landscaping to comply with zoning requirements. Additional on-street parking is available adjacent to and across from the facility. Deliveries and waste management. Meal deliveries, primarily contracted food delivery service provides daily meal drop-offs with some minor food prep, snacks, etc. on site. Trash collection. The facility has a designated screened waste storage area near the alley on private property, and daily trash pickup will be scheduled during daytime hours to ensure cleanliness and hygiene and minimal disruption to residents and neighbors. This speaks basically to the general special exception criteria. And this criteria basically focus on the potential adverse impact of this proposed use on neighboring properties and how those impacts can be mitigated. From the community meetings, it appears that mostly the concern is with parking on street, but this application does not, it meets the minimum parking requirement, is not asking for any relief from parking requirements, and the Department of Transportation has adjudged that the impact on parking and traffic in the neighborhood will be minimal. The proposed use is residential in nature, and it is again not a facility for returning residents. This is a facility to provide services to people who need assistance with their daily living activities. And that will be our presentation. I'll be glad to take questions and respond to them as they come. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So the community members who are in the chat that have questions, we ask that you would place them in the chat. We're going to allot 15 minutes for Q&A on this matter before we commence commission business. That said, I will yield first to Commissioner Thompson-Wright.
Good evening, sir. Did I hear you correctly? You said returning citizens?
I said this facility is not that type of a healthcare facility.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood. I was going to say, I was confused then. And then one last thing. So you're willing to downsize from the 16 beds to 8 beds. Who is going to be monitoring that you don't, in your eyes, give your own capacity rate for this facility?
No, actually what I said was that the facility is already permitted for 8 residents, which is allowed as a matter of right. This application is to increase the number of residents from 8 to 16.
Oh, so he said he wants to increase to 16. Oh, I thought he was going to.
All right. I know Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Ruff, Commissioner Hayes are on Zoom. Do you all have questions? Want to yield to you if you have anything.
No.
I see Commissioner Ruff's hand went up. Commissioner Ruff, the floor is yours. If you're speaking, Commissioner Ruff, we can't hear you. All right, Shimanomi, Commissioner Nelson, you have anything?
Really quick. So on April 15th, when we met with you all, we discussed the importance of coming in person to present. And I just wanted to acknowledge that you didn't come in person again. So we just wanted to know, I want to know why. And then the other piece is that there was we were advocating for a walkthrough of your facilities, and I don't believe that occurred. Just so as we could get a firsthand view of what was the format. I know you all presented in your PowerPoint the layout, but I think it is a very important thing for us to be able to also see the facilities. So there's that piece. And then the last one is just to make sure that we are all on the same page. This particular residence on Clay Street currently occupies 4 assisted living residents. And they have currently they are able to house 8 people. So the request is for them to be able to increase to 16 at this current location, even though they only have 4 occupying the location. So I'm going to close right there, but please reference the first 2 questions I asked about you all not attending in person, and then also the walkthrough.
Okay, I'll stick to the first issue. If there was discussion about us attending in person, both I and the applicants missed that. So perhaps I missed it. I didn't hear any requests that we definitely attend in person, or else we would have done so. I'll let Sinat speak to the issue of the walkthrough. I believe that, again, this is a communication issue. I believe that the single member district commissioner was to let us know when he wanted to do that. I don't believe that the applicant got that communication, but I may be wrong. I'll let Mr. Sinat speak to that.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? Okay. So first off, I apologize. Definitely a miscommunication. I do remember the proposition was the invitation was to come. As far as being mandatory, that I miss, but it would have been an issue nevertheless, as I'm kind of under the weather here. But my apologies, and I'm happy to come in attendance if that may be an option presented. As far as a walkthrough goes, as Mr. Billa had explained, I think the communication was we were supposed to coordinate and hear back a good day and time with the commissioner on this. Happy to do so. Just upon your earliest availability for that matter.
Commissioner Orndorff, we'll set up some time this week. I'll just get your contact afterwards so we could do something between, you can email me your info also, but I would definitely want to just touch base. So we can do something before the end of the week. Louis, back to you.
There's a committee member who has a question. You've been recognized.
Sorry, that was an accident to put up the hand.
Okay.
It is my understanding, Commissioners, that both the hearings for Clay and East Street are tomorrow. Because I heard Commissioner Nelson say something about Clay.
I said Clay Street. When I went into the system, it looked like the hearing was for Clay Street. Do you have one for East that I'm unaware of?
Yes, both of those applications are in the same single member district commission.
Right. Do they have the same application number? Because the number that I saw for tomorrow was for Clay at 9:30.
No, they have two different BZA numbers.
Right. So both BZAs are going to be introduced at 9:30 is what you're saying? Because I only saw one for Clay is what I'm saying.
No, both hearings are scheduled for tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
Any other questions from community members, commissioners? All right, so we have some community members who have questions. We'll yield the floor for questions. We got about 8 minutes left on this, so we're good on time.
Hi, Commissioners. Good evening. Thanks for your continued diligence and for taking the time and having the meeting. I joined virtually when you had the last meeting where this was discussed. I joined the joint meeting that both Commissioner Nelson and Commissioner Orndorff held, and I'm here this evening. In both instances, I heard requests to tour the facilities. I heard requests to have them come in person. I am here in person with my son. I should be home doing homework, but I'm here because this is important. And I think if you are interested in investing in a community, you have to show up and be there in very much in person. There were a number of concerns that were iterated during that call. And if for nothing else, to show some goodwill and effort, I think it would have been admirable for them to be here. I continue to have a number of concerns that there is already a facility that's owned by the applicant a block away. I live on Eads. I've lived on Eads since 2017. They already own a property. They can have up to 8 residents right now. They only have 4, yet they haven't even demonstrated that they can manage an occupancy of 8, yet they're trying to move all the way up to 16, not only on Clay, but then taking the Eads property from 0 residents to 16. That just sounds like a order of magnitude that is illogical and makes no sense. My son rides his bike. He's learning to ride his bike. We live on the same side of the street as where this place is going to be. So when I say that I have a number of concerns, I mean, 8 minutes isn't enough, and I don't want to take up all the air in the room, but I just want to continue to iterate that this is definitely a problem. We have a transitional home across the street from the Eads property. So when I say that, you know, we're really over commercializing what is a residential, very familial neighborhood, that is what is happening, and I'm very concerned. I mean, you know, they've taken pictures and shown that the parking is open, but what you also don't see in those pictures is that a number of the properties are vacant or only partially occupied. If you look on Eads, during the evening, in the morning, towards, you know, closer to 42nd, it's completely bulked up with parking because it's completely occupied, right? So if you don't have people in the houses, of course there's not going to be cars. And so, you know, they're conveniently taking advantage of certain factors and misrepresenting a very fertile and open and ideal scenario. And I really continue to be opposed to this request. I'm going to join the call tomorrow. I'm going to iterate my concerns once again. You know, I never even received any information about this request. I live 3 doors down. The 3rd house down from where this residence is where my home is located. And so I find it very interesting that they sort of chose to cherry pick who they were going to get support from. And so I'm just disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. And this is not what I want my neighborhood and where I'm raising my children to become. So with that, I'll save the rest of my comments for tomorrow. If I did have some questions, though, it will be on the Clay property. You know, in the past year, how many times have the police or emergency services reported to the property? Am I going to see lots of lights outside of my window? The boys' room faces the street. This is a concern that I think is fair to raise. They talked about deliveries happening in the morning. Well, guess what also happens in the morning around 7 o'clock? Recycling, trash. It's in that same alley that they allege is going to be used. If all 16 residents have visitors at the same time, what is that going to do to parking? 16 cars visiting 16 residents cannot fit in 4 parking spaces behind that building in the alley. I could go on and on, but I'll stop for now.
Thank you. So we'll go here and then here.
Hi, good evening. My name is Yolanda, and I want to start, thank you, Commissioner Nelson and Commissioner Orndorff, for this opportunity for the community to speak out about our concerns. I just want to stamp with Ms. Okolo that we do have safety concerns, safety risks that this project could bring to our neighborhood, because this is considered a commercial use, and this is a high occupancy facility with 16 patients plus visitor plus staff plus all people that can come to this facility at the same time. It's a lot of people in just one house. And I also had my nephew that lives with me. He plays outside. He wants to be free to play outside without limit. Oh, this time you cannot go outside because there is people on the street and you don't know them. You don't know what they can do to you. And also, I want to stamp that they are converting this neighborhood in commercial use. We had, like Ms. Okolo said, that there is one transitional home right in front of the street next to my house. And I have dealt with some issues with them already. And and they have another property within 400 feet. So it's a lot of over concentration of this facility. So I'm gonna stay until the end of this application in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks very much for having this. I also came in person because my understanding was that the applicants are going to be here. My concern is with the Ead Street property because that's a residential home that is being proposed for conversion to commercial. There is, for me, I feel that there is both a over concentration of these types of commercial businesses in our neighborhood. And I think that's also having that we have less concentration of neighbors. So we have less people who need to go to the library. We have less people who need to go to the grocery store. We have less people that we see on our streets. And so again, Clay is already there, but Eads concerns me as we see a lot of these properties already. Thank you.
I'm also grateful for the opportunity and disappointed that the applicants did not come in person. We do not live on the exact block, but we live on Dick Street and we pass both properties all the time. And we are very aware of these developments popping up all over because there's been talk of one behind our house too. And we were actually just talking that maybe we need a map of the neighborhood that shows all of the residential homes that have already been converted to commercial properties, because it really is true that these are businesses and they're not your next door neighbor. They're not kids that are going to come out and play with your kids on the street and those types of things. But I also wanted to,
It's like the Oscars.
yeah. I just wanted to say something related to the applicant and issues of trust. So already we believed that they were going to come today and they didn't. But when we had the joint SMD meeting last week, they stated that the properties had not been for sale. And I have been able to find the MLS numbers from the sales of both of the listings of both properties. The Clay Street property was listed for sale on October 25th, 2022, and then listed August 27th and delisted October 25th. It was listed for $980,000. And I remember that because I remember seeing the listing and going, wow, that's the highest listing I've ever seen in the neighborhood. And during our joint meeting last week, they said that it had never been listed. And Eads has also been listed and delisted twice in 2021. They were asking $699 for that both times. So that just takes me back to the trust. And the fact that many of us long-term people in the neighborhood and some of us who are newer in the neighborhood are looking to live in a residential neighborhood And I mean, one of the joys of living in the neighborhood is that people do actually have their kids out playing on the streets and riding bikes and walking around, and you get to know each other. And I'm going to get off my soapbox about that and just ask that our commissioners take into account what people in the neighborhood would really like to see in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we appreciate all of the folks who have given input. All right. Before we proceed with final remarks from either Commissioner Orndorff or Commissioner Nelson, whoever might want to allow the applicants, one last opportunity to share a final closing statement, and then we'll proceed.
Thank you, Commissioner. The applicant understands the concern of the neighbors, but I think it's important to note that this program is designed to allow this cohorts of people to live and recuperate in a residential-like environment. So again, the issues of concern about safety, I mean, these residents are hardly ambulatory, so it's inconceivable that they would become a threat to anybody's safety or a nuisance in the neighborhood. As I said in the neighborhood meeting, the applicant is constrained only to meet the parking requirement and not exceed it. In fact, the zoning regulations will penalize you if you provide infinitely more parking spaces than is required. So yeah, on EADS, we could, clearly fit more parking spaces in the rear of the property, which is quite expensive. But then the zoning regulations does not permit that. And not only that, that just invites traffic to the neighborhood. We believe that both applications meet the standards for the granting of special exception. And the applicant is willing to discuss any possible mitigating actions that they can take that assuages the neighborhood concern. Thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you so much, Commissioner Orndorff, Commissioner Nelson. Any final comments?
With so many of the concerns of the constituents, we are definitely going to need you guys to come in person, so we can iron out some of these situations with the constituents. With that being said, if there's nothing else from the commission.
But so the chairperson calls us into the opportunity for a vote. So
I have a motion.
all right. Before we enter into commission business, it was a joint SMD meeting, so I think it is fair to allow Commissioner Nelson a final statement if she has anything to add for the record.
All right, I'm going to yield to Commissioner Orndorff. He's going to make a motion on the matter, and we'll go from there.
All right, so the commission will now enter into commission business. As you all may be aware, when we're in commission business, the commission is the only ones that have the opportunity to ask questions or go back and forth. So the same as it would be at a city council hearing or any other body that enters into business, board of zoning, zoning adjustments, and anything of that sort. So we are now in commission business, and we'll yield the floor to Commissioner Orndorff for a motion.
With all due respect to the process of committing to having folks have assisted living and making sure that it's properly done, we still want the community of Eade Street and Clay Street to have a more clearer presentation. So I would like to put a motion asking the zoning commission to postpone the decision until the applicants address the concerns from the community and the commission dealing with the parking and any other more concerns. And we will have our next meeting in May of course, and commercialization of the property on their streets. So if we can get you guys to come in for June, I'm sorry, May. June is in my mind, excuse me, because like I said, some of these programs get started. So if we can get you guys to come into May, for May, so the community can meet you guys in person, you gotta understand, it's like they said on the last meeting and on the first meeting, you guys gonna have to make a presentation stance in the community, physically. Okay, so that's what I'm proposing. I'm putting that motion on the floor.
All right, for the record, point of clarification, the motion is,
Asking the zoning commission to postpone the decision until the applicants address the concerns from the community and the commission.
okay. So the motion has been properly made. Is there a second to the motion?
I second the motion.
Motion properly made by Commissioner Orndorff, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Discussion. I'm going to use a personal privilege moment as chairperson and say, far too often there are matters related to transitional homes, assisted living, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because there are loopholes in the way that laws are written from a federal level that cause us to have to absorb and be a welcoming place for facilities of this sort. Outside of a facility that was located, I believe, in Ward 4 years ago, I can't tell you facility-wise any place in the city where consistently transitional homes, facilities that are for folks returning home from prison, assisted living facilities for seniors or folks with health challenges, et cetera. I hear the point around placing an emphasis on what it means to provide a safe living environment and wanting to be a welcoming community, and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. But far too often, that's the narrative and the cry that we're given in Ward 7. And I'll say it from a personal standpoint, at 7F, if you drew a map, you would find that there are a number of facilities like this that are located in 7F, just right here behind here, right off of 40th Street. You go up off of Texas Avenue, there are a number of homes that were purchased, and folks were able to contract them out through federal contracts and other connections and bids that they have. I believe in giving deference to commissioners, and so by no means am I railroading in any way. But when I hear the concerns, all right, when I hear the concerns tonight, I just flat out have to tell you, and this is our opportunity for discussion, and if anybody else has any other sentiments as commissioners, please feel free to offer them. But for me, I'm a no vote, because I want them to go before the Board of Zoning, and I want this to be a matter that doesn't see the light of day, period. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense for our community. And so I'll say that that's where I am. I'm a no, because I want this to not see the light of day. We can't pander to folks to do their due diligence. And that's a frustrating thing, right? You're going to get paid. You're going to have a contract. You've probably already been given a consultant fee to do this. And to pander to us the way that they have tonight is unacceptable. And maybe I'm a bit fuming, because I'm realizing what's at stake in our community with the potential stadium going up. But but playtime is over. And if we don't do the things that will preserve our community in a way that the fabric that many of us who have lived in this city for years and years at a time, that are generations, 4 generations deep here, many of us who serve on this commission have grown up in this community, in this ward, we are doing a disservice to what it means to preserve the fabric of the community. The lies are unacceptable. Unacceptable, and I don't know who they think they fooling to sit and say some of the stuff they've said and think that we are not an intelligent community because we don't look like Navy Yard or Union Market. It is disrespectful and it is distasteful. So for me, I think this is a moment where we've got to put our foot down. We have absorbed way too many folks coming across this threshold, thinking that they can ease their way. And I heard the statement of, oh, if there's something that we can do to make the community more amenable. No, there's nothing you can do. We told you already what you can do, and you haven't done it. With that, I yield if there's any other commissioners who have a statement.
I think one of the concerns we have is that if we say no, will the zoning commission still want to grant the license prior, even with our no? And so I guess what we're trying to figure out is how much great weight we have in this situation. If you believe that we should go ahead and say, no, we do not support any issuance of a license on East Street or an expansion on Clay Street, that is something that, you know, Commissioner Orndorff and I can talk about. I think that there was a conversation also about the need for housing for the elderly as well. Even though this one today, the presentation said there's no minimum age requirement. So this isn't for just the elders, it's for anyone, which does somewhat change a little bit of the conversation that we had about the use of this facility. So I'm gonna yield to Orndorff on that and see if we can move into whether or not an amendment needs to be made or we move forward.
Again, with the importance of assisted living for elderly, like I said, it's a tricky place for me with housing, but it's a soft spot when it comes to residential. Because I live in a what you call residential apartment complex, and it's not residential anymore. Okay, because of the infiltration of the mixture of what was there and what is now what it is. So I'm consistently fighting every weekend for noise control and MPD, you know, stuff that I didn't. So I'm going to confer with my colleague so we can work on a quick amendment or change to my concerns of my fellow colleagues. If this is not what we want, then I'm with my people. It's just simple as that.
I'm sorry, do we what? So anybody can offer the amendment. So Commissioner Nelson, you would like to offer your amendment?
So I would like to offer an amendment. I am requesting that the motion be amended to tell the zoning commission that we are not in support of an expansion of the Clay Street address of 4231 Clay Street or a granting of a license on each street. That's my amendment.
Commissioner Orndorff, do you find the motion friendly?
Yes, I do.
All right, any discussion on the amendment as presented? So I'm sorry, on the now updated motion as approved. I would state, what time for the record is the hearing tomorrow?
9:30.
9:30.
It's gotta get turned around tonight.
So that means I would say that we need to do this. We need to make sure that we get whatever we're going to send over tonight, like get it done and turned into the zoning commission tonight. And I think the biggest piece with zoning in terms of the great weight dynamic is, one, it has to be a resolution, right? Which, for the record, is this a resolution or we're clarifying support? Or, okay. All right, so I make the amendment for it to be a resolution friendly.
You want me to- All right, so I'm amending.
No, I offered it. You just
Oh, go ahead.
declare if it's
All right.
friendly or not. Is it friendly?
Yes.
Okay, so it's friendly, and so it is a resolution. That, and then the pieces related to why we are not in support. I think that is where the clarity has to be provided. I think we do that, the great weight carries. And I'll say, to the point with housing being a soft spot, you know, obviously we all work in arenas outside of being commissioners. I work in the housing space, and so I see the need for it. I just think we've got to be really intentional about it, and we can't allow people to just railroad our community. Yeah, we do, and we've got it. Yeah, we've got 2 buildings that are being built right in ANC7F right now, currently. Right, and so, yeah. Any further discussion on the matter? Further discussion on the matter? Alrighty. We will now move to the previous question. Now on the vote. All those in favor of the motion to provide a letter of opposition and not provide support for the Yep. All those in favor of the motion as presented, all those in favor of the motion as amended to provide a resolution in opposition of the licensing of the facility for BZA matter case number 21.
21240 and
21240 and 2
go ahead. 1249.
1249. We will conduct a voice roll call vote. Commissioner Hughes, how do you vote?
No opposition.
So that is a yay. Commissioner
Yes.
Hayes,
Yay.
that is a yay. To my right, Commissioner Edwards, how do you vote?
Yay.
Commissioner Thompson Wright, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Orndorff, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Holcomb, I vote yes. It is unanimous, 7 in favor, none against. The motion carries. Appreciate y'all being on and presenting. All right. We will now move to the matter of resolution. I'm sorry. I'll now yield the floor to Commissioner Hayes for an introduction.